Hi, I'm Dellil Mohammed, and I am the owner of Oso Clothing, and I'm a senior at Wakefield High School.
Hi, my name is Maureen Naughton. I'm a teacher at Wakefield High School in Arlington, Virginia, and I teach business and marketing.
Hi, I'm John Craig. I'm a clinical social worker and the creator of VoiceRoundtable.com. Please join us in conversation.
It's a fantastic class and I love teaching it. I've been teaching it for 7 years, and my class has been adopted by an organization called NIFTY, the Network for Teaching Entrepreneurship, and they give me grant money so I can take the students on field trips and help fund their business. They give me money so I can give them business card paper, they can create their folders, their order forms, and we actually have a competition that's coming up at Wakefield where students present their business plan to a panel of judges. And whoever wins first and second place in that competition gets to go to the district competition in Washington, D.C. So it's a very exciting time in entrepreneurship.
What are some of the most exciting ideas that have come through your class in terms of business ideas?
Well, t-shirts, of course. Also, I had a student go to national competition. He created black and white cookies, and he called it Delicious New York. And he created them with honey instead of sugar. So they're only 109 calories. So you have this huge frosted cookie that was only 109 calories.
Nice.
So he made it to nationals. He made it through the first round of nationals, and then he was left out. But it was a great idea.
That's
People loved the
fantastic.
cookies.
Right. And Dellil, you're working on a T-shirt project. Is that right?
Yes, sir. This all started when I got in trouble last year. Don't ask why. And the supervisor for in-school suspension was telling me about how we cannot get in trouble anymore. It's kind of hard out in the world, and it's like we have to find a way to make money, and we can't do that if we're always getting in trouble, stuff like that. And he suggested I should take entrepreneurship for my senior year. And then I took a lot of consideration, and I thought about it for quite some time. And at one point, I was at home just thinking about my strong suits, and then I realized I've been taking art classes for about 4 years, and I've been drawing for a good 7 years. Then I waited until my senior year to take entrepreneurship, and then right before that, my friend was talking to me about making a clothing line, and I said, well, I'm not sure at the moment because, I thought I could do it all on my own. Then I thought about all the startup money I'd have to come up on my own, ideas, and then I realized, okay, I kind of do need a partner. And I've known him for quite some time, so why not work with someone I trust? Then we became partners and created our first few designs together and have sold a good amount of shirts. So yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
And how do you divide up, say, the duties of the business? You have a natural way of assigning tasks to you or your partner?
Yes, he deals with money, photography, and making shirts with clip art or logo tees and stuff like that. And I'm good, and I work with graphic designing all the shirts that people are gonna wear, money as well, and I work with the computer as well. And he works with Photoshop as well. So if he needs to tweak up any of the designs I made, he does so.
All right.
Yeah.
And Maureen, did you coach them as they got the idea and it went forward, or was it something they came to class with it already formulated?
Dellil already came to class with the idea, so he kind of worked on it and worked on his business plan. He already had designs in mind, so it took very little leading to get Dellil to start his business. He has sold a few t-shirts at different class activities that we've had, so it's very exciting.
Hey, Dellil, you want to show everybody some of these t-shirts?
Yeah. This was an idea that I thought of when I was going through a website called Tumblr, and I realized that graffiti is becoming really popular now. And there's this one spot in Arlington where there's a lot of graffiti. And he's really good with the camera, so I said, why don't we pose in front of the camera behind graffiti, and then, make it into a shirt. And he said, all right. And then he took, and because he's been taking photography for quite some time now, has a A average in that class. He took a picture, photoshopped it, added a couple of cartoon bear heads on it, made into the shirt that we've sold a lot,
Which one's you, the one in the middle, or?
I'm this one right here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And we were pretty much like ran out of this design already. Only like 2 left.
You showed me the one with the Egyptian
Oh,
mythological figure. Maybe we could show that as well.
Yes. This was based off of the song New God Flow by Kanye West. And it talks about how they're going to take over the new things in the world. And he's saying with New Oso Flow, we're going to take over the fashion world. So yeah, and this is the king, I think it's called Horus, right, in Egypt? And yeah, he's saying that we're the kings of fashion, so, or soon to be, that is.
And where do you sell these, or how do you actually sell them?
We sell them around school, and right now we're fixing up our Big Cartel. It's a website where we sell our stuff. And then we're gonna go to a well-known store in Georgetown that's well-known around the DMV area, and they're gonna sell, give us a shout-out on their Instagram. Instagram is a app on the iPhone and Android where they take exclusive pictures and stuff for businesses or just for regular use. And they have over 23,000 followers, and then, they're gonna give us a shout out in the description. They're gonna say, okay, you guys should go buy their designs here. And then, so let's say someone in Maryland wants to go buy a shirt, they're gonna go to that website and order it.
So you're using a lot of technology to market your product.
Yes, and we have a few models. They wear our shirts, and then we put them up on our Tumblr, Instagram, and Facebook to show that these are some nice shirts.
Have you gotten a lot of sales from promoting them online, or would you say that walking around school is a better promotion for you?
I mean, locally, it's a better promotion for our schools, for the schools within Arlington, but we're trying to get it out there by using online websites. Yeah.
I think you told me you almost sold one to one of the Redskins of one of the.
Oh yeah, we were at this event called Shootopia, which was at the Verizon Center about a month ago, I think, or 2. Yeah, and the wide receiver for the Redskins, Josh Morgan, was there, and he really liked this one design called the Dreams, and he wanted to buy one, but we didn't have his size because he's a pretty big guy. Yeah, and he really liked it, and he kind of was supporting it, and he took a picture with us, and Kickspot took the picture, and they put us out there. We got a good 200 likes. People view it a lot. Yeah.
And Maureen, I'm just curious. So when Dellil came into your class, and it's a 2-semester class, a full year?
A full year.
A full year. So
3 college credits.
Okay. And I'm just curious, for Dellil, what was his process in your class or other students like that in the beginning of the class? Is it a process of formulating ideas or getting some feedback as to how to proceed, or how does the class sort of go?
In the very beginning, the first few days of class, we talk about what business they want to start, and some students have no idea.
Right.
They come in not really knowing what they signed up for.
Right.
So I have them do an interest inventory, and I ask them what they like to do after school and on the weekends. Do they like to bake? Do they like to sew? Do they like to go shopping?
That's personal interests.
Right, and because I want them to start a business based on something they're interested in.
Great.
Because then they'll be more engaged in class, and they'll sell more products and be more successful. So we spent a few classes doing interest inventories and finding out what students want to do.
Right. And what would be the next phase typically after when they got their idea and they want to move ahead with it?
I introduced them to the whole concept of entrepreneurship, what it is, as compared to a partnership or a corporation, and then we get into the marketing unit, which is my favorite, where they can market their products and how they would sell it to people.
Right. Is it usually products or there services sometimes?
There are also services. This year I've got dog walking and babysitting, party planning, so there's a wide variety of businesses.
Interesting. And do the students usually actually launch the businesses?
Yes, they usually do.
They usually make some money, or how does that
go?
go?
They usually make some money. There are a few different opportunities that I'm lucky enough to attend during the school year and bring my students. we got sponsored to come to E-Trade, and my students set up their businesses and sold their products and services. And just Wednesday night, we went to a gala put on by Nifty, and I brought 9 students, and they got to display their businesses. And one of my students who has a service business actually got a job that night.
Wow.
Party planning for a 16-year-old birthday party.
Nice.
So we have a lot of networking opportunities available to the students.
Right. This seems like an interdisciplinary kind of course, probably. And is accounting and the money side or the accounting side of it something you teach?
The financial side, yes. That takes a while to get through. Return on investment, return on sales, cost of goods sold. But the students, they learn so much in my class, especially financial equations. They learn very advanced things that they wouldn't learn in any other class.
Right. And they actually put that to use, maybe some kind of bookkeeping system for their business? Is that usually done on their computer?
Yes, it's done on the computer. And it's put into their business plan. The business plan starts at the beginning of the school year and grows as the school year goes on to a 22-page PowerPoint that they show to the judges.
Right, okay.
Where they have to do projection of sales and
I
cost
see.
of goods sold, materials, fixed expenses, variable expenses. So they learn a lot.
And so that PowerPoint is sort of a framework. They know ahead of time they're going to create this PowerPoint, and it will have all the aspects of the business.
Right.
So they can have in their mind what they need to have. Did you do a PowerPoint, Dellil?
Oh, yes, I'm still working on it. Trying to perfect it as much as possible with the help of Ms. Naughton.
And does that have things like financial statements or financial figures in some of it?
Yes, it does.
And also maybe pictures of the product?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
great.
I have a lot of those.
So once someone went through the PowerPoint, they'd kind of have an idea about what you're doing.
Yes.
That's pretty great. What are some other kinds of projects that have been interesting? You mentioned the cookies and the T-shirts are interesting.
I had two students last year that won 2nd and 3rd place in the competition. My student Layla, she made cupcakes, and she cut out the middle of them and put Nutella in the middle of them.
Nutella?
You know, the chocolate hazelnut spread?
Okay.
They were so good. And she sold them. She called them Feel Good Cupcakes, cupcakes with a heart. And she donated 10% of the proceeds to the American Heart Association.
Oh, great.
So she incorporated so much into her business. And I had another student, Alex, who made pierogies, which are these Russian, almost like a calzone, if you know what a calzone is. At first I thought they were like pierogies, but they're not. They're breaded and there's stuffing in them. And he sold them like hotcakes at the Nifty Gala.
Right.
People were going crazy over these things, so, and they're very good.
So when they're doing food products like the cookies or cupcakes, is that baked in their homes?
Yes.
Okay.
Normally it's baked in their homes, and they package them. I try to get them packaging for it, and they bring them to different events.
Right. They may know about how I think Ben and Jerry started their ice cream at home and got bigger.
Yeah,
So,
a little bigger.
Yeah, a little bigger. So that was real neat. Yeah, so the services are like dog walking, you said, and that's a pretty good market in D.C., I would imagine.
It is. It's a very hot market in D.C.
Yeah, right.
And their competitive advantage, because we talk about competitive advantage, why would I go to you and not someone else, is that they have a lower price.
Right.
So.
Right. I'll mention a little bit about some other similar courses or instructional workshops that probably are similar to your classes that are open to people of any age that are given here around the county. George Mason University has a Center for Social Entrepreneurship, and it is something like your the young woman, I think, who was creating the cupcakes, and 10% goes to the Heart Association. So it has a social benefit built into that. And so social entrepreneurship tries to combine what's traditionally been, say, a nonprofit goal to help a cause, plus with the profit motive of a free enterprise, for-profit company, and have, like Ben and Jerry's used to do, you know, they would have their rainforest ice cream, I think, and part of the proceeds would help to save the Amazon rainforest. So the Center for Social Entrepreneurship, I think it's just about a year or two old at George Mason, but it's really quite a great thing, and you know, some of your students might be interested in that sometime. I think that they helped create an interesting project workshop that I'd also like to tell you about. These are often created by the Arlington Economic Development Agency of the county, and one of them, for example, was down at the Artisphere in Roslyn, and it was really quite good. It was about crowdfunding, which is a great way for anyone these days to say, Dellil, if you wanted to raise more money, your t-shirts are selling, but you got to expand production, maybe you want to do a bigger project. You might be able to just go on one of these crowdfunding sites, and the idea is to raise money that is not investment money, it's just gift money. People like what you're doing, they're going to give you some money and hope you succeed. And so the way you would go about it would be to go onto one of the sites. One is called Kickstarter.com, and another is called Indiegogo. That's kind of like indie music with the go-go ended on the end. And you can, they often suggest you create a video for this because it gets your personality to come through, and they really see who's starting this business in a very easy way to see that. Plus, you'd create some paragraphs that describe your business and why you're raising the money. It's often quite good to be very specific. So you say, we want to buy some silk screens, maybe we make our own t-shirts, or a lot of some new materials for handing out when we're trying to sell it or something like that. And you would then create some little rewards for people. So what do they get if they give $10 or $25 or $50 or $100? And so, you know, they may get, for a $25 donation, maybe they'd actually get a free t-shirt or something like that. But it's a nice way. And then what happens is you set a deadline. So maybe you have 30 days, and then we're trying to raise $1,200 or $2,200 or $400. It's a nice way to just jump into that, and works well for people, yeah.
Get some startup funds.
Okay, I'll look into that.
Have any of your classmates had to raise some money that they had a slightly more expensive, or how did you actually get the money to do this?
I work at my parents' store. It's an Ethiopian grocery store, and I work as a cash register, and every 2 weeks I would receive pay, and I would invest half of my paycheck into ordering shirts, and so would my friend Kirabel Solomon. He would invest his money as well, and we'd order a certain amount of shirts, and then at the end we count up how much money we've made and split the profits in half.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
They also get some startup funds from the Nifty organization.
Okay.
Because they get a grant at the beginning of the school year to take the students on the field trip to New York City, and they get startup funds that day. Not much, but it's enough to get them going.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's really great. So you've got 22 entrepreneurs or would-be entrepreneurs working together at once. They get a lot of support from each other, talking to each other?
They do. Last year when I had a student go to competition, his two of his classmates came to cheer him on, so that was nice.
That's great. Maybe I'll tell you about one other resource that the county has here that's relatively new that some of your classmates might want to look at if they stay around Arlington or they're here in the summer after they head off to college, after they graduate. But it's actually a very nice facility called Link Locale. If you know where the Silver Diner is down the street here in Clarendon, it's right across Irving Street from there. And you'll see a Wells Fargo bank. And upstairs, Link Locale is what they call a co-working space. And it sounds like you've got some of this going in your classroom, which is really great. Because in your classroom, you've got aspiring entrepreneurs who are actually able to congregate together and talk to each other and get ideas. And I got this problem, and somebody's got an answer, somebody else has another answer. So sometimes, entrepreneurs sort of get stuck in their own extra bedroom or in the basement, and they don't really have anybody to talk to about these problems. So the idea of Link Locale and these co-working spaces, which are actually taken off around the country, is that there's a large room with some desks and cubicles. There's some meeting spaces around, and a kitchen where people can have some snacks and things like that. So a lot of times these days for a business, or at least the organizational part of the business, all you really need is a laptop and a cell phone. So some people come in, they have a sort of a rate you can pay where you can just come in, find space at a table, and do your work. Or maybe you have a particular cubicle that costs a little bit more per month, and that's your assigned cubicle, and you can keep your papers and stuff there. But the great part about it is you're going to meet other entrepreneurs who are working next to you and get some of their feedback. And if you need a meeting room, you've got it right there. You can invite your business, your customers or designers or lawyers or accountants to come meet with you there. So you have a chance to continue if you're ever out of college or in the summer you want to grow your business a little. Maybe you could check it out, and then you'd have that same support that you'd have there.
So like an idea.
Yeah.
So what is your tie to entrepreneurship?
Well, I have something called a Voice Roundtable, and I started this way back in the 90s, and it's basically, a Voice Roundtable is like a telephone conference call, but it's in non-real time. So we all know that a telephone conference call is a small group discussion, using the spoken word, usually through the telephone, but also maybe through a computer or some mobile device, and yet it's a live or real-time interaction. Now that requires everyone has to be on the phone at the same time. Well, these days it's hard enough sometimes just to get one person on the line live, and it's really hard to get 6 or 8. And once you get a time when everybody can be on the phone, somebody may change their schedule, they can't make it, so they either have to be left out or something. So a Voice Roundtable is more like group email. If you think about group email, you want to have a discussion with 6 or 8 friends, and you just send out an email to all of them. A little bit later, somebody hits reply to all, and they hit, and they make a comment or ask some questions. A little bit later, somebody else hits reply to all, and you have this conversation going. But it's not real time. You don't have to have everybody at their computer at once. So a Voice Roundtable is something like that. We instead use it more like a message board. It's a voice bulletin board. And everybody in the group will say, call in, listen to the latest round of messages from their group members that came in the day before. And then they have a chance to create a new message where they ask some questions or update everybody on what they're thinking about. And those messages are heard the next day. So every time you create a message, it's like a voicemail message you leave for an individual, but you know the whole group's going to hear it. Different members will hear it at different times, but eventually everybody will hear your message and they respond to you. So it's an interesting concept. I used it first with medical support groups because a lot of times people, they want to hear the sound of the human voice. It's a lot more personal usually than just text and email. So you hear if somebody's, happy or sad and things like that. It's important in medical support groups. And I've used it with cancer patients at Cancer Care in New York City when I was in a program for a master's degree at NYU in clinical social work. We actually even used it with psychiatric patients who were in an outpatient unit in a South Beach Psychiatric Hospital. And I've used it here at Nova Hospital with cardiac patients who are trying to quit smoking. So it's working well. I've actually got a project now going to form a company, an LLC, and see if we can take it to the next step. And
how exciting.
maybe I should take your class.
You should take my class.
Something like that. Do you have anyone working in healthcare projects or that you've...
No, I don't. Normally, when the students start their business, it's very teenage-based. So it's based on their interests. It's small. Because my goal isn't for them to maybe sell cupcakes or T-shirts for the rest of their lives.
Right.
It's for them to get the entrepreneurship bug.
Good point.
So they can start, get some funds, and build up, and maybe own a huge corporation and hire me to work someday.
Right.
I always tell them not to forget about me. They can
Maybe you could get a little stock option.
Yeah. Oh, that would be nice.
I wouldn't mind.
So do you come from a family of entrepreneurs? Like, where did you get the entrepreneurship bug?
Yeah, my mom's side of the family has opened up many businesses back home and here, self-made women and men. So kind of like, I guess it runs in the family. And my dad opened up a store here in Arlington, I guess based off of what my parents, his wife, my mother, does. So, kind of grew on me, I guess. I think I'm like the only person, of my siblings that actually wants to pursue something like this. So it's kind of interesting. Yeah.
Isn't it amazing how technology has changed entrepreneurship too? I was thinking about that earlier, like this conversation you can have when it's convenient for you.
Right.
That wouldn't have happened 20 years ago.
Right.
And Dellil marketing online with Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, we wouldn't have had that 20 years ago.
Yeah,
So it's amazing. It's a very exciting time, I think, for people to be an entrepreneur because there's so many marketing tools out there that are free.
Yeah.
Do you find some of your students educating you about the new media?
Yes, actually, one of my students the other day just told me about a new website that's it's a lot like Pinterest,
Right.
but it's more for selling products.
Oh, interesting.
Whereas Pinterest is just posting things and sharing with people. So I learned that the other day. I learned a lot from them.
Right. To get back to the, to get to your point of the teenager's interest, the crowd, and to get back to crowdfunding site, Kickstarter was actually started for artists or musicians, creative people who want to do something. Maybe they just want to, maybe they got a musical group. It could be a rock and roll band or just some kind of they're playing in a symphony orchestra and they're doing more classical music, and they want to record that and release a CD with their own recording and performance on there. They can go on Kickstarter and raise the money that it takes to go into a studio, maybe even hire a producer to make it sound good, a sound engineer, and once they get the money, they've got it. And so maybe that would appeal to some of your rock and rollers or musicians or singers.
It's like American Idol for the internet.
There you go.
That's exciting.
That's right, yeah.
And you told me about another website too for young entrepreneurs to try to raise money.
Well, Indiegogo.
Indiegogo.
Yeah, I might have mentioned that. So that's a good one too. And Indiegogo has the advantage of it's very broad, almost anything. Like Kickstarter, they really want you to be some kind of creative artist. They don't want you to raise money for a cause. That's just not allowed. That's not why they set themselves up. But with Indiegogo, you know, you can be doing just about anything and just tell people what you're doing, and they might go for it. Another thing I could add about the crowdfunding I think it's a very powerful new tool, and you know, your money can come from a couple of sources. First would be friends, family, and acquaintances, or like they used to say in the startup world, they say friends, family, and fools, and anyone who'll give you some money. And the other one is total strangers. There's actually a lot of people who go onto these websites, and they're actually, you know, they want to feel a part of something that they believe in. It's like they have the passion you were talking about, but they don't want to start that company themselves. So they'd like to help maybe Dellil with a t-shirt company or something like that. And so they look on there, they put in keyword searches, and up comes maybe something in their area that's about t-shirts. And they say, wow, this gives me a chance to be a part of a t-shirt company, but I don't have to start the company. I can just give some money and then maybe get a free t-shirt, or at least keep up with what's going on. So you may find that is an interesting thing too.
So online venture capitalists.
Right, yeah. And yet remember, it's not anything like that's an investment. An investment, you got to really feel like you got to start that company because the investors want their money to go big. Yeah. But I think it's great for maybe teenagers because it's gift money. Someone's giving it to you. And you know, you do the best you can and you report on your results, but you're not necessarily held to it too strongly. So it's a nice way to go.
That is great.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to share that with my students in class.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to look into that.
Yeah.